Hi guys, welcome to a new year at Vortez TV. Now we're going to kickstart the new year by taking a look at the new flagship to the Phantom series. This is the 820. Many of you will already seen this case, perhaps even own it. It's based upon the original Phantom, which has been extremely successful for NZXT, and as you can see from the visual aspect, it's got very many characteristics. The main difference with this case is obviously going to be the features, but also the sheer size. So with that size, we've got the XL80X compatibility inside, and we've got E80X for the bigger size motherboards. And then inside also we've got the compatibility there for water cooling. Now the clearance inside here is extremely good. So if you're wanting to drop in a custom kit, many of you are going down the water cooling route, then you can drop in at the bottom, the top, the front, and we will explore that as we go into the video. As it stands, the air cooling is extremely good too. We've got 4 cooling fans included with this case, which is very good, and those are positioned in key areas. So we've got one at the front, the side, the back, the top, and some of those are also 200mm, so that gives you a low noise and a decent performance ratio, compared to a smaller fan. And also we've got a fully fledged colour system. Now as you can see, this has got a blue LED at the moment. I've got this powered up. Now opening this door here, we've got a control panel, and you can rotate the wheel and that changes it through different colours. So we've got red there, and we can go to green, purple, pink. So you can see there, that's quite customisable there, the hue system. And you can take those off if colour's not your thing. Some people don't like the flashy sort of colour thing. The other thing with the LED is at the rear I/O, we've got the ability there to switch on and off a light. So that's quite handy to have. Sometimes it's quite dark at the back of your case, you're wanting to plug in a USB, and perhaps you struggle for light. Then you just open this up, press your button, and you've got light there. So that's really useful. Small feature, but one of those things that's quite a good thing. So that's whet your appetite for the case. We're giving you a quick overview of it now, and we're going to go and take a look at all the features of the 820. Okay, so Phantom 820 is available in 3 different colours. We have black, white and gunmetal. The one that we're taking a look at today is in the gunmetal variant. And as you can see, the front panel is part plastic and part steel mesh, and that lower section, which features the mesh, provides ventilation for the front 200mm cooling fan. Now above this is a door which conceals the 5 1/4 bay covers and the LED controls, and this just opens out. And there's a total of 4 5 1/4 bay covers, and these are removable from the outside. You can see there we've got the button sliders to pull those back and to remove them. Now at the top there's a variety of buttons for the LED control. The first of those is LED mode. Now you can transit between different modes on this, so you can have either the LEDs at the front on, side off, you can have them both on, or you can turn them off, the choice is yours. In the middle there's an SD card slot, and that's an extremely handy little feature to have. And then next to that is the hue change, so that rotates round, and that gives you the choice of going for different types of colour, the green, the blue. We showed that in the intro. You can really choose a vast amount of different colours there. And then at the end we've got the I/O LED, which turns on and off the rear I/O LED. Up at the top we've got even more connectivity. On the left hand side there we've got 4 USB 2 ports, and then a further 2 USB 3 ports, and those USB 3s are via the internal motherboard header. And then over on the other side we've got a power and a reset button. We've got the headphone and the microphone sockets, and then we've got this 4-channel fan controller system here. This is the controls for taking it down and up in speed, and then we can switch with the middle button between the different fans, and the LED system here indicates which fan you're actually changing. And then further back, just like the front of the case, we have a part plastic, part steel mesh configuration, and that is the ventilation there is particularly for the 200mm case fan, which is on the underside. Coming to the side panels, we've got a steel side panel for either side. They've both got this convex design. On the alternate side, that's obviously going to give you a bit more space for your cable management behind that motherboard tray. Whereas on this side here, we've got this perforated mesh area which has the housing there for a 200mm side fan. Now it is a bit strange because usually for the convex sort of design it would be better having it further up here, just so that it's above the CPU cooler, gives you a bit more space for bigger flagships. As it stands, there is actually quite a lot of clearance there anyway. But this Perspex window here is just sort of next to the CPU cooler. It gives you a bit of an insight inside there, and it also works in correspondence to the LEDs which are just above. And then, as I say, this perforated mesh area, that is for the 200mm fan. We've got another section there for ventilation, just to allow you a bit more dissipation. Now, both side panels have 3 thumb screws here on the back, and I've already removed these. And this particular side panel here was actually quite difficult to extract. It's quite stiff, and it fits very, very flush. So I've just loosened it slightly for the video. Should be able to. There we go. Just remove that, and I'll show you the fan there. You can see that's the 200mm fan, and it has a filter which you can take out and remove, and that has the 3-pin connector for attaching to a header on your motherboard. So with that removed, then you can see the system which I've already installed in here. This is the XL-ATX test system that we have, the MSI Big Bang P67, and you can gauge an idea for the sort of clearance that you can get away with, sort of components and the cable management. Okay, we're now going to take a closer look at the various features inside 820, and we're going to start by taking a look at the power supply unit area. Now it's good to see that we've got the rubber mounts, because that does prevent the vibration, and also power supply is metal, case is metal, we don't want any scratching, so that's a nice little feature. And obviously we've got the standard size power supply there. We've got the Aurum CM series from FSP, which is standard, but we've also got the extended mounts there if you've got a longer power supply. Now underneath here we've got a filter. You can see there, I've just pressed that in and it pops out, and this slides out the back, and you can remove that, clean it, because obviously if you have the fan facing the underside of the case, it is going to pull up dust and dirt, and it does need to be cleaned. So that just slides back into place. And also at the bottom here we've got 2 different areas for mounting a 120 and a 120, or a 140 and a 140mm fan. Now this hard drive section can actually be removed. You can see the screws there, and we're going to take a look at that closer in a little while. But yeah, as you can remove this, you can obviously have the cooling from the underside just to give you a bit more airflow. And covering both of those, we've got another filter which you can take out, that obviously covers both fans, and you can take that out and clean it. Above the power supply unit we've got 9 PCI expansion slot covers. Each of those has the ventilation holes for better airflow inside the chassis, and we've got the thumb screws there for easy removal of devices. And to the left you can see those rubber grommets which are circular, and we can use those for the water cooling if you're going to go down that route, and sometimes you want to use those for the cabling. It's a nice and handy thing to have. In terms of cooling, at the top and the back of the case we've got a 140mm rear exhaust fan, and then at the top we've got a 200mm fan, and you can see there that's positioned to be an exhaust as well. And you can see that that fan sits inside a nice little cavity, and it has a fan filter. So both those slots at the top both have a filter, just in case you want to swap that round and make it an intake. Now at the top there you can pop in various different sizes. You've got 2 200mm, 2 140mm, and 3 120mm, so you can go for various different sizes. You know, the choice is yours there. And you can see also running on the inside there are the LEDs which shine onto the Perspex when you've got the side panel on. Over on the other side we've got 4 5 1/4 base slots. Each of these come with the toolless design mechanism which we've seen on previous NZXT cases. And to make use of one of these, all we need to do is flick the switch across, press it in the centre, pop your drive in, flick it back, 2 pins go into the holes, flick the switch across, and that provides a nice firm fixture. And you can see there's two screw holes. This has been separated into two different sections, and you can actually remove this lower section. Beneath the optical drive bay, we've got this nice little feature which we've seen on previous NZXT cases, such as the Phantom 410, the Switch 810, and it's this ability to drop in a fan attached to the hard disk drive storage, facing different angles, so we can basically pivot. You can see there, if we've got it facing this way, we've got it towards the CPU cooler, and then if we can fix it that way, facing the GPU, it just helps to alleviate any heat, pushing it outside of the case. So you can see here I've got this 120mm Yate loon. So if I was to put that in, obviously I need to put my screws in, but you know, you can direct it in different angles. And it will take 120 or 140mm fan. Now for the hard disk drive storage, we've got two different cages. We've got the upper and the lower cage. And to get access to that, you really need to go onto the alternate side, take off the side panel, and there you got access to all the different frames. And there is lots of different options for the hard disk drive storage. But on the prominent side, we can actually take out the lower cage. Just need to pinch in the levers, and this slides out very easily. And there you've got access to two different options there. Taking out one of these frames, you can see there we've got the 2.5-inch holes. Now you'd need to pop in screws on the underside of the drive, but then for the 3.5-inch you've got the pins on the sides there, so you don't actually need to drop in any screws. And you can see I've already done this on the Samsung drive here. These pins just go into the sides and provides a nice, easy sort of solution for your hard disk drive storage, and that goes in there. Now I just want to show you behind the motherboard tray in order to demonstrate the clearance and also the amount of cables that you'll have to take care of due to the numerous buttons and the ports from that front panel. And of course you've got the fan controller too. Now one aspect that's really worth mentioning is the inclusion of a CPU power extension cable. And obviously the 820 is a very tall case, so it would be nigh on impossible to route that cable as you would normally from the power supply behind the motherboard tray and up to the connector. So NZXT have kindly attached an extender for you to assist with that routing of the cable and to make sure that things are nice and tidy. So that's a massive thumbs up to NZXT for that. The distance between the back of the motherboard tray and the side panel is approximately 2 centimeters. So that's going to give you a substantial amount and more than enough in order to keep those cables tucked away and nice and tidy. And don't forget also you get the convex side panel, and that going to give you a little bit extra on top of that 2 centimeters. Taking a look at the graphics card clearance, here we've got the XFX 7970 Double D version, which is around 10.5 inches in length. You can see there we've got around 4 inches between the end of the card and the hard disk drive cage, so that's a nice generous amount. You'll be able to house anything that's currently on the market. For the CPU cooler clearance, we've also got plenty of space. Here we've got the very popular Noctua NHD14, which is 160mm in height. And you can see there's plenty of space, even probably up to 170mm, and most coolers are around 160mm anyway, so you know, any sort of flagship, you can pop it in here, no problem. 820 is undoubtedly designed to be laden with water cooling kit, and so there are a number of options available for you here. At the bottom we have space there for a 240mm radiator. Unfortunately though, at the front we've got a few obstructions since there's an upper hard disk drive cage there which is riveted. At the top we've got space there for a 360, 280 or a 240mm radiator, and that can fit on the inside. You will need to check on the specifications of your heat sinks on your motherboard, but you should be able to fit it. On the outside though, you will struggle to fit the thicker type, so you'll need to fit something like what we've got here, the Corsair H100i radiator, which is the thinner type. That'll fit there no problem. Right guys, we're going to take a look now at the lighting and the sort of options that are available for you. Now to get the lighting activated, you need to basically connect a Molex and a SATA connector to your power supply, and obviously power the system up as we have here. And all you need to do then is open the front panel, and then you've got access to these various controls. Now at the moment I've got both sections of LED activated. So the first section is this one that runs down the edges, and then the second one is this one here, which you can see reflecting on my hand, and that covers the components and the side panel. So if you press the mode button, that can turn them off like that. You can have just the sides on, you can have just the fronts on, or you can have both on like that. And also obviously you can alter the different colours by simply rolling the wheel around. Doesn't matter whether you go anti-clockwise or clockwise with that. So it's quite useful that you're able to tweak that to your own specification. You can have the fronts on or off, the sides or both of them on, or simply if you're not really favouring the sort of flashy LED sort of style, then you can just turn them off altogether. And you've also got two LEDs at the rear I/O which can be switched on or off in order to give you illumination for the ports at the back there. Right guys, so as a final test I'm just going to show you how loud the case fans are inside 820. Now we've got a 140mm rear exhaust, 200mm at the top, and then another 200mm at the front. And I've set these all at full on the fan controller, so these should be full speed, and this is just a rough estimate as to how loud those are. So I'll take my microphone off and get them as close as possible. Well guys, we've reached the end of our review. What's the verdict? Well, we've got three different cases now inside the Phantom series. We've got the 410, which deals with micro ATX, ATX in a mid-tower arrangement. And then we've got the original Phantom, which takes on higher end. And now we've got the flagship, which is the ultimate offering. It takes on eATX, XL-ATX, dual card configurations, and of course water cooling. It's got all the boxes ticked. And with those three sizes, NZXT have now got that process complete within that Phantom series, and it's nice that they've got the same style but different size, so you can choose exactly what you're looking for as to what sort of system you're going to pop in there. Now aside from the size, we've got lots and lots to talk about in terms of feature set. We've obviously got all the clearance for bigger CPU coolers, the long graphics cards, cable management is very good. Got decent build quality. The lighting kit, which is a very nice idea, with the switching on and off, different colours that you can change. The rear I/O is a very handy sort of thing to have. And then we've got the fan controller, which is very innovative. We've got, there's just loads of stuff inside here. USB 3. We've got the SD card slot, and with those things, obviously, you come to expect quite a price tag. This is £200 in the UK. Which is quite a hefty sort of price for something that's steel and plastic. There is a fair amount of plastic on that front end and at the top, but come as it may, you've got to choose really what sort of style that you want to go with. Phantom is very popular out there amongst the communities, and it's easy to see why. It's a very nice, sleek sort of design. So if you want to know the thermal performance from 820, then just visit the link in the description. It's got the thermal performance there, comparing it to other XL ATX compatible cases, and you can gauge as to how effective these case fans are inside here. So guys, thanks very much for watching today. Feel free to drop a comment in the box below, and I'll see you soon.